Hey folks, my name is Brad Martin and we're back up in the mountains of Vermont today with our metal detector, hiking to a place that I have been looking forward to for the better part of a month since the landowner invited me up here. And I'll tell you more about it once we finally arrive, but at the end of this old dirt road, over 150 years ago, was the home of one of this town's wealthiest families. Now it was sprinkling about 10 minutes ago and I heard some booms in the distance, but hopefully we won't get too wet today. We've got a little ways left to go. All right, we have arrived, standing at the edge of the cellar here, the foundation, and it is awesome. As you can see, it is very deep, stone lined for the most part. It caved in here, but one kind of interesting detail that I'm noticing is, a lot of foundations up here in the mountains are field stones, for the most part round, but as you can see, these stones are squared off, rectangular, which would indicate that they were cut, which seems to show these folks did in fact have some money. And on the topic of money, the family that lived here owned most of the sawmills in this town throughout the 1800s, really from the beginning right until the turn of the century. Now the landowner did tell me that there have been several people metal detecting here over the years, and the amount of copper and silver coins that have come out of here is crazy. I don't know exactly how many, but he said a lot. Hopefully we can find a couple of those today. Let's get our metal detector out. All right, well, nothing special. It's just a utensil. It's a piece of cutlery, a knife, but look at the design of this thing. I've never seen one quite like this. Very elegant, and it is iron, but at the time it would have been polished up with probably a bone or maybe even ivory handle. Very impressive looking. Very lightweight. Would not have been, doing any butchering with this thing. This was a nice flatware set. Really, really cool. Let's keep going. All right, well, I got something here. It's a button. I'm not sure if there's something on the face of it yet or not. I think that there might be. Definitely a button. It almost looks like a two-piece button. But no back mark, unfortunately. But this side. Certainly appears as though there's something on there. Whoa. You see that? Looks like, I can honestly say I've never seen a button like this. It's like there's a scene there. There's a little person working on something. Can we tell what? Can you tell? Is that what that is? Is a person? Person's back? Person's front? It's hard to say. Appears to be a person. Very interesting. I don't know. So cool. I've never seen a button like this. It makes me wonder if the garment like told a whole story. If there was different scenes in the different buttons. But that's a first. Super interesting. Maybe we'll find some more. Very, very cool. Well, still nothing too valuable here. No giant silver coins or anything yet. But I did just find, and again, it was like almost another surface find. It was just under this dirt here. It's dried up dirt. And man, is this thing intricate and expensive looking. Would you look at that? I'm not entirely sure what kind of, appointment this is, whether it was a pin. Now that I'm looking at it a bit more, it almost looks like up here was, it was a circle here, like a round button maybe? Maybe this had a button on it and it went in a buttonhole just for decoration. Pretty intricate. Really, really cool. Sprinkling now. Hopefully it'll pass soon. As I'm walking around, I'm seeing lots of signs of those who came before me metal detecting here. Things like this. It's a piece of glass somebody found stuck on top of a stump. And over there I saw some horseshoes hanging in trees and those iron rings we find stuck on branches. And I can understand folks not wanting to necessarily carry that stuff out. I do similar things with like axe heads, tell the landowner where to find them, but I don't know, hanging them in trees has always baffled me. I guess maybe they don't want to run their metal detector over them a second time. Usually what I do with horseshoes and iron rings is I'll find a place next to the foundation and place them there and let the landowner know that that's where they are. Must not bother him too much because he keeps inviting people up here, but I don't know, a little bit weird. Let's keep going, see if maybe we can find one of those coins. Well, I just found, I found a few of these recently. It's a chain. It's a brass chain. I'm always on the fence whether these things are jewelry or, I feel like this was a form of jewelry, whether that be for a pocket watch or a pair of glasses, spectacles, something to that effect. I would have suspected this would be plated in some way, gold or silver. And you could just see by looking at it, this is very delicate. This wouldn't have been bearing any load whatsoever. It's not a typical chain design. We have these little rings here. What it was doing, what its job was, is your best guess. I'm gonna say probably a pocket watch. We're missing some, obviously. Maybe there's more in the hole. Pretty cool. Bent up, plating is gone, but you can imagine what it looked like at one time. Very good. I just got kind of an interesting find right on the surface here, which is incredible that the leather here is still intact and it's still relatively pliable. This appears just to be some leather with rivets, and as I mentioned, the leather is still quite intact. The copper that's in this brass, antimicrobial properties in it that protects the leather when in the earth. And I'm not sure if this is complete. It looks like it is. This is pretty rounded over on both sides. What this was, part of a saddle, part of a reins rig of some kind. I thought at first it was going to be like a bracelet, but I don't believe that it is. It's a mystery. Let me know what you think. Just a decoration for something, or did it have a purpose? Pretty cool. Alright, well, I got a pretty junky target, a lot like the sheet metal that I've been finding today. It's kind of all over the place, and I think I just got something pretty special. I don't know what it is exactly. The workings of what looks like a buckle on the back, and there's some text here. Patent May 6th, 1873. And on this side, there is a lot going on. So we're going to spray this. Let's see what it might be here. That's crazy. So it is plated. When it first came out, I thought maybe it'd be silver, though it didn't ring high enough on the metal detector. You can see the plating is coming off, so I'm going to stop rubbing it with my toothbrush. But it looks like we have a scene here of a bunch of cherubs, or they might be adults. It's hard to tell. Looks like somebody's painting over here. This guy's got a rock pick and a hammer. This guy's chiseling out a, what are those called? Caps on top of one of those pillars, Roman pillars. That's pretty crazy. Usually we'd speculate how old this thing is, but we have a patent date right on there, 1873. And I have to wonder whether this was worn on a belt around the waist, or a shoulder bag or waistcoat. I don't know, we can use your imagination, but that's beautiful. Big surprise when that came out, for sure. Incredible. Well, I was walking along detecting, and I saw a flash of blue on the ground. And I don't know if this is what I think it is, but if it is, it's a pretty crazy coincidence. Let's take a look at it. You see that? It almost looks like somebody found this already and then discarded it. But yeah, that is, does anybody know? That is a blue jar, which I believe is a Vicks Vapor Rub. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what these blue ones are. Not really sure how old it is. It could be well into the 1900s, but I'm pretty sure that's a Vicks. And the reason I say it's a coincidence is because just a few weeks ago in one of these videos I was talking about how my grandfather wore Vicks as an insect repellent. And today, for the first time, I tried it myself. So far it's working pretty good. I'm still getting bit a little bit, but it's working just as good as the DEET did. And it always makes me wonder, you know, when we find these things at places like this up in the mountains, is that what they were using these for? Or achy muscles? Pretty cool. I'm gonna keep this. If this was discarded by a person before me, well, their loss. I'm bringing this one home. Pretty cool. Let's keep going. Well, we just got some more really intricate, expensive looking, I don't know what it is. It's an artifact of some kind. I don't think it's a buckle. I think it might be like an escutcheon of some kind. I don't know. I just took a real quick peek at it. And you can see there's a ton of gold plating on here. Let's see if I can get most of the mud out. Man. And on this side, you can see there's more gold plating. I think that this is going to require some water. What in the world is this thing? Let me spray some water. You know, likely the some of the plating is going to come off, but let's just see. Let's just see what happens. Well, it appears as though it's symmetrical somewhat in this direction, right, left to right this way. It doesn't appear as though anything is damaged down here. It's not open, but it does look like it's damaged up here, and maybe it seems like it was hollow at some point and it was crushed, and this point up here was open. So I'm kind of leaning towards, you know, the bottom of a handle, maybe a looking glass, like a mirror, but it is very intricate. You know, not solid silver or gold or anything. It's plated, but certainly would have looked expensive in the time, which seems to be the theme here. Very cool. Holy smokes, look at this thing. Even their spigot was silver plated. It's got a lot of the plating out left on there too. I'm fairly certain this would have gone into a pipe and not a barrel. A cistern of some kind, more than likely water, I would guess. I'm confident this is period with the building, you know, late 1800s, maybe turn of the century. Very cool. Old spigot, still silver plated. Crazy. Alright, I just got a screaming target, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I thought I would film taking it out in case it's not what it is. Man, this thing is enormous. Yeah. Anybody know? This is awesome. Are you kidding me? This is a clock. This is the most I've ever found of one. Both of its movement plates. We find these things all the time. These plates that all the gears and stuff are riveted to. But it still has its winder. Are you kidding me? Look at that. Unfortunately, this thing is pretty busted up. Looks like some moisture obviously got in there from the ground, froze and busted this thing apart. And at the very least, I'm going to try to get this out to display, because that's so cool. Oftentimes there'll be a brand name and a patent date. but you know, we have a pretty good idea of when these folks were here, so that's not super important, but that's what it is, an old clock with the winder still in there. So cool. All right, folks, well, the sun is currently shining, but I just heard a series of massive booms coming from that way. I just heard another one. And my wife is sending me weather updates to my phone, so we're going to get the things that we found today out, do a quick recap, and then I'm going to get out of here before I get wet. Okay, starting with the things that I don't think you've seen yet. In the back here, I did just get a fragment of a pocket watch, half of a Crotal bell. I was pretty excited when it came out, but it's just half. This, I think, is an escutcheon, although it could be, you know, like a keyhole for a door. I'm not quite sure. There's some iron stuck to it here. Let me know what you think about that one. I did get one suspender, pretty much completely intact. And now the things that you have seen. We've got our silver-plated spigot back here, a clock with the winder still in there, which I find incredible. Dinner knife here, the handle to probably a lady's mirror. Very, very elegant and gilt, and pretty impressive looking. I'm sure even more impressive looking, obviously, when it was all together. Our little chain, I don't think I showed this button, but next to that is our crazy, intricate button cover. We have our button with the little scene in it. As of this moment, I don't know what's going on in there. Maybe by the time I get it home and get it cleaned up, I'll know, but I think that it would be incredible if the garment actually had like a whole story to tell from these scenes. This thing, as time went on, I think I figured it out. When I first found this, I thought that those were rivets, but in fact, they're clasps. They're like hooks. What it is exactly, I'm not sure, but we do know now that this clipped onto something. I'm gonna go with something decorative and not a utility of some kind. Let me know what you think about that. And then, of course, last but not least, this crazy looking belt buckle that has really the only date of anything we found today, which is May 6th, 1873, which does line up with the history of this place. And even though it is silver plated, this would have been a very impressive statement to make with this around your waist. Very, 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 very cool. More booms back there. Incredible place, fascinating history. Fortunately, we weren't able to find anything too valuable today. One of those coins we heard so much about, but as the landowner told us, people have been metal detecting here for years, and they already found an incredible number of coins here, so somewhat to be expected. The things we did find, though, I'm pretty excited about. I'm sure the landowner is going to be excited to see. You know, that's more than we can ask for some days in this hobby. I want to thank you again for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next week when we're back up here in the mountains of Vermont looking for more treasure.